Well, Jets fans, the offseason is finally upon us for every team because the Tampa Bay Lightning have just won back-to-back Stanley Cups. Congratulations to you guys. You guys deserve it. You have a hell of a team over there in Tampa Bay. Stevie Y did a fantastic job putting that team together for you. I really wish that guy could be there for those 2 rings back-to-back because he deserves it because, boy, what an impressive squad you have assembled over there in Tampa Bay. And honestly, also congratulations to the Montreal Canadiens on an impressive, fantastic miracle run. I know it didn't end with the cup you guys wanted, but let's be real. Getting to there was just an accomplishment and its own. You have a lot of young guys that are only going to be getting better, a ton of cap space, and a lot of different decisions to come your way. I wouldn't be worried, Montreal. If you already made it here now with these guys on rookie deals and stuff like that, imagine what they'll be like in their primes. So don't fat feet just yet. I think you got a lot more coming down the way for you guys in the future, and, congratulations on even getting here because that's a huge accomplishment in itself. But moving forward from now, the expansion draft is right around the corner, and that also means that the NHL entry draft is right around the corner as well. And Jets fans, it's time we talk about what type of players the Winnipeg Jets could potentially drafting if they keep that pick and don't move it during the expansion draft or even up and before that point or whatever happens with trades and whatnot. If the Jets keep that pick, who are they going to select? It's been a question that's been on my mind for a while, and I know it's been on my mind for a lot of you Jets fans out there for a while as well. And today we're going to be talking about who I think is the best pick for the Winnipeg Jets to pick at the 17th spot this year in the 2020 NHL draft, and that is left winger Matthew Coronado out of the Chicago Steel program in the UCHL. And the reason why I think this guy is the best fit for the Winnipeg Jets this year to take at 17th overall is for a plethora of reasons. And the main reason that I think of just off the back is the way he plays the game and how the Jets as an organization like to draft and develop players, and also how Paul Maurice likes to use younger guys and veterans and the whole, makeup of the Jets roster and how they play. Matthew Coronado to me is a prime example of what, a top 6 version of an Andrew Kopp, an Adam Lowry, a guy like that would be a hard-working, defensive-minded forward who is very skilled with offense as well and who can play defense, do the little things right, who's only 5'10" but plays like he's 6'5", a guy who's just always out there doing everything, fighting, skating, bulldozing through players, and he has honestly had some incredible, fantastic offensive numbers as well. When you go into look this year in the UCHL for the Chicago Steel, he was able to put up 48 goals, 37 assists for 85 points in 51 games. Now, a lot of people out there that are going really in-depth, looking at every statistic you can for the draft and predicting the best order and best players to go, think that is a lot of that numbers are inflated because of how stacked that Chicago Steel team was. And to be fair, his numbers are definitely probably inflated because of how stacked that team is, but that doesn't take away the offensive skill that he has and the hard-working mentality he brings to every shift on the ice. And that is exactly why I think he's a perfect fit for the Winnipeg Jets organization, because if you're looking at the Jets right now, they're in what I like to call the Connor Hellebuyck window. I've talked about this a lot before in the past, and that is the window that now, the 3-year window with Connor Hellebuyck's contract left on his deal and Blake Wheeler's age and how good he can be as a top 6 guy and whatnot. In my opinion, they've got about 3 years left with the best current, with Blake Wheeler, Connor Hellebuyck, and all these the way the contracts are right now. That is their best chance to win. So if you want to draft a guy that is going to take a little bit more of a step to get to the NHL, a guy who is going to have to develop for sure at the AHL level for probably at least 2 years, I would say, a guy like Coronado, if you're going to keep the pick this year, would be a prime get for that, because once you have Blake Wheeler, a guy who plays very similar to Coronado as well, even though Coronado isn't as great as a playmaker as Wheeler, you have a hardworking guy like that. You have a lot of other hardworking young players, guys like Jansen Harkins, David Gustafsson, and also the guy who just signed in Dominic Coronado, another hardworking guy who's only 27 years old, who still has some room to grow his game, I believe, at the NHL level. You've got all these guys pushing that are really good, gritty players, but then a guy like Coronado can not only play that gritty, good defensive game, but can score. So having him potentially be in the system for a couple years, developing it at the AHL level, and having him jump up when the teams doesn't know what, it looks uncertain with contracts and whatnot expiring, that could be a very good get for Kevin Cheveldayoff to have in his back pocket going into the future. And the other big reason why I think a guy like Coronado fits the bill better for the Winnipeg Jets is because I've seen a lot of analysts predicting that they will go with a defenseman. Maybe a guy like Carson Klamaus out of the University of Wisconsin, another defender who's 6'2", and a great guy, don't mind you, who I would not be upset with if the Jets picked. But the point is that I think currently with the Jets' defensive structure that they have with prospects and younger guys, kind of doesn't make sense to have a guy like a defenseman this year get drafted. When you look at the wingers that the Jets have right now, they don't really have a lot of high pedigree wingers for top 6 futures. And I'm not talking about Cole Perfetti, because I expect Cole Perfetti to actually potentially make this team next year out of the gate. Maybe not be a consistent staple on this team for the entire season, but I definitely expect he makes this team off of how successful he was with the Moose and how everyone in the AHL system right now, coaching and in the NHL, is just so impressed with the kid. It wouldn't surprise me to see him get a chance to start the year with the Winnipeg Jets. But getting back to the defensive side of things, when you look at guys like Ville Heinola, Declan Chisholm, a rookie Logan Stanley who could be potentially being kept after all the expansion draft, you've got guys like Tucker Pullman as well. All these guys that, really don't have, a set core with this team other than those prospects. And Tucker Pullman, guys like Derek Forbert, Jordy Ben, all these guys are expiring. So there's going to be a huge push of younger guys coming into this club within the next 2 years, I would imagine, in the defensive side of things. So when you have that many prospects jumping in that are going to be on rookie deals for the next 3 years, over the next couple of years, you've still got Declan Chisholm, who's at least 2 years away, I think, from being a stable NHL-ready defender. You don't really need to load up on more defensive prospects. I actually think the Jets' defense moving forward into the future, they've got a plethora of options when it comes to guys that can just be ready to go at any point, because you can make the argument that Ville Heinola, guys like Dylan Sandberg as well, who I just failed to mention, could have made this NHL team for the Jets this year and been more competent than guys like Tucker Pullman, Jordy Ben, Derek Forbert, and anybody else really. So when you have an argument like that about how good the Jets' defensive prospects could potentially be, I don't think taking another defenseman this year at 17 makes a lot of sense, because when you look at what Coronado can bring, I think he is way more valuable to this club in the long run than having another defenseman who could make the team, could be a decent depth guy, who knows what his outcome will be. But having a guy like Coronado to come up and be kind of a better version of Christian Vesalainen potentially could be a better suit for this team. Because when you look at the Jets prospects right now that Paul Maurice does not use on the forward end, guys like Vesalainen, they don't get a look because even though they have great shots and good offensive skills, their power forward game is still not at that level that Paul Maurice likes to use. Paul Maurice, for some reason, when it comes to younger guys, only really likes to use them well unless they're a top draft pick or a guy that really knows how to play the body well and, just be that physical presence on that line. There's a reason why Paul Maurice loves his veterans and grits. He likes to see that type of attitude in younger players as well. And when you look at what the Jets currently have right now in the cupboard, when it comes to forwards like that, they don't have a lot of high pedigree guys that could potentially be top 6 guys, minus Christian Vesalainen. And even then, he's getting up there in age, hasn't had a consistent NHL season yet, so who knows what the future holds for him. So I think bringing in a guy like Coronado, a guy who obviously can put up a ton of goals, 48 goals this year with the Chicago Steel, obviously, could be a huge get for the Jets, even if he becomes a stable 20-goal guy or even 15 to 20-goal guy in that range, and he's a guy who can, play a really good physical game, jump anywhere in the lineup. Worst case scenario, he falls to an Andrew Kopp, and when you look at the draft rankings for this guy, he could really, it makes a lot of sense for the Jets to take a chance on him. The NHL Central Scouting has him as a North American, 9th best North American skater in this year's draft. Elite Prospects has him at the ranked at 32. Scott Wheeler from The Athletic has him at 17. The Dober Prospects has him at 33, and TSN has him at 21. So right in that late draft pick type of area. So I think it would make sense for the Jets to take a chance on him. Obviously, there are other guys too that fit this bill well, but just based off of how Paul Maurice likes to use younger players, even though he doesn't use them a lot, but when he does, and the type of veteran presence that he likes to have, I see this a lot in a very young, hard-working guy who's, I know, 5'10", but plays the game and is not scared to hit and plays it to exactly how Paul Maurice likes to play hockey and coach hockey. So I think that makes perfect sense for Cheveldayoff and Paul Maurice to collaborate on this one, talk about it, and potentially make this draft pick if they keep that pick, obviously. Obviously, all of this is going to come down to whether or not the Winnipeg Jets make a trade, whether it is to bring in a defenseman or a trade to make a deal with Seattle so that a guy like Logan Stanley, potentially Dylan LaMelo, or even Mason Appleton doesn't get picked regarding on who gets exposed to the Kraken in this expansion draft that will be coming up very, very soon. So with all those variables taken into place, if the Jets are even able to keep this pick this year, I think a guy like Coronado fits the bill for Jets type of players, prospects, and just kind of what they need going into the future with the type of guys that are getting older, and also how Paul Maurice likes to use and coach the game. We know Paul isn't going anywhere. It doesn't look like he's going anywhere, at least. So having a guy like this that could fit that mold of a perfect Paul Maurice prospect, I think is a really good direction for this club to go with. But let me know your thoughts, guys. Who would you like to see the Jets draft 17th overall this year in the 2021 NHL entry draft? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, if you're a fan of hockey, regardless of the team you root for, definitely consider dropping a subscription. It really does help this channel grow, and any support you can give is always greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching this video. Peace, love, and positivity to all of you people out there, regardless to where you are in the world. Have a good rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Go Jets, go!